Hello, everyone. I'm Cynthia Nickerson. Welcome to Champion Grants live training. Well, actually, it's not live, recorded training course. And you're going to get some valuable information about the whole grant writing process and some information about how you can work with me to help you implement and develop your grant proposal so that it is the best it can possibly be and very competitive so that you can start getting grants to fund your nonprofit. All right. So I want you to prepare to take notes, grab a pen, paper, your laptop, whatever you need to do, get some water, coffee, whatever your favorite beverage is, and sit back, relax, and let's get to work. All right, so here we go. This is Champion Grants, as I mentioned. It is a grant writing academy that I have started, and I like to call my academy not tips or info, but gold nuggets of grant writing, because you're going to launch on the golden road to get grants, and gold, of course, means the money you need to do what you need to do with your nonprofit. This is the season of giving, so in that spirit, cash wrapped up in a red bow is always a great gift, but I want you to imagine this particular pile of cash comes with a letter that says, congratulations, your organization is one of our new grant recipients. I know that would be a wonderful way to kick off a brand new year and a new decade. So I'm here to help you bring that vision to life. All right, I can tell you from personal experience, the grant writing struggle is indeed real. I wrote my first grant back in 2003, zero grant writing experience, but I had self-confidence and I knew how to write in general. So I thought, well, how hard can it be? Surprise, surprise, it was very hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I managed to struggle through. I didn't get that first one, but it taught me many, many things. So I was able to get the second one that I applied for, and then we're off and running after that. But that was 2003, a while back. And I have to tell you that since then I've written many grants. All of them are new. You understand the process, but the parameters, the priority, the project, that's all new. So it's kind of like you're still starting fresh. Kind of like you get in your car every day. It's a trip you take all the time, maybe to work or a store or whatever. Your car, maybe you've had it. But every time you step behind or sit behind that steering wheel, it's a new journey. So that's the way I feel about grant writing. It's always a journey, always an interesting journey. All right, a little bit about my background. I am a graduate of USC, Southern California, a bachelor's degree in journalism. And I started a career in television news directly after receiving my bachelor's degree. I was a TV news anchor and reporter in different cities. And then along the journey, I decided I wanted to specialize. So I went to Boston University to earn a master's in health communication. And from there, I kind of pivoted or shifted my career a bit to be the health reporter, the health anchor. I loved it. As you probably know from watching television news, it can get kind of depressing. And I looked at my job as the health reporter as a way to give people actionable information that they can use that very day to improve their health or that of their family. And that's the kind of way I feel about grants. This is actionable information that you can use to help improve our communities. So I did TV news for about 20 years. Then my husband and I at the time started our own video production company, and we were able to produce health media projects. So that's how we got into this. We organized as a 501c3 because the projects that we produced were of educational benefit to the community. So I've done some different things related to media and communications, as you can see from these pictures, and public speaking. And some of the funders that awarded us grants to get those media projects done: Susan G. Komen, the Breast Cancer Foundation, Aetna Health Insurance, Novo Nordisk, also the American Heart Association, American Diabetes. So many health nonprofits we wrote grants for to help them tell their health story to the community. And here's some pictures of what we did in the field. We would literally go out and with the camera, microphone, and talk to folks about whatever the topic of that particular class was. So I think this one was on healthy cooking, and then we did one on art therapy. So it was quite a varied experience. We did couple dozen projects. Some of them are still on the YouTube channel, and I'll post a link to that so you can see. But I do want you to know, like I said, it started in 2003, and I know the grant writing process can be time consuming, frustrating, scary, stressful, all that. But you know what it also can be is quite fulfilling, because once you get through the no's and once you understand the process and able to put together a competitive package, the yeses are going to start coming in, and that's when it's all worthwhile. I compare grant writing kind of to childbearing. Labor is difficult and painful and stressful and all that, but once you actually see your child, all that falls away and you don't think about it anymore. You think about your child and raising your child, and it gets better. So that's kind of the way that I feel about grant writing. So if you have started the journey toward thinking about how can I get a grant to continue my work, start my work, whatever it may be, and you type in research terms on Google, grant writing, and all that comes at you. And if you're not really sure, you've never spoke the language or never learned the language of grant writing, it can be a little strange, confusing. So you've probably been wondering, puzzling, grappling, pondering, all that. And this person is me. She's probably all of us who sit there and figure out, how can I get this done? I have this great idea on one hand, and I need to get it to the people, but in between that, I need money to do it. And that's what causes a lot of the So I really, really want to help some of you, all of you actually, to understand the process so that your project can help our communities, because it's so important that we have these projects implemented. So what I did, I'm proud to tell you that, I took my years of grant writing experience and I put together an ebook, The Golden Road to Grants. Like I said earlier, I like to compare grant writing to getting the gold or the gold nuggets and launching yourself on this golden road, because it is golden. You feel like life is golden when you finally get that grant and you can implement your project and you can see the smiles on folks' faces who are the recipients of whatever your service is. So this ebook is called The Golden Road to Grants, Gold Nuggets of Grant Writing to help nonprofits save the world. You're saving your corner of the world. And if we put everybody's projects together, we could have a better world if we can just get funded. And that's what I'm going to help you with. So the gold nuggets to develop a grant proposal that wows people. That is a proposal that is competitive. And the book is broken down into roughly several categories, and these are the main 6. Making connections, that means networking and building relationships. The road to the goal, that of course means the research that you have to go through to apply for the grant. Your wow story, you need to tell your project narrative in a way that makes them really sit up and take notice. Keep it rocking, that means sustainability plan. Nonprofits want to make sure that if they give you this money, are you still going to be in business after the money runs out? Do you have a plan to keep your organization going? Of course, the treasure chest, meaning the actual budget. And say it loud. You need to tell the world about your project, about the monies that you've got to develop your project. And so we're going to take a few minutes to go into each of these 6 to give you some actionable steps that you can be thinking about. Let us start with the road to the goal. Before you can apply, you have to know, what are you applying for? You have to actually do some research. It isn't hard. It's time consuming, but it's not hard. Especially with Google. There's so much that you can find with, I'm not going to be biased, Google or whatever browser or search engine that you choose. Basically just type in a sentence that explains what you want to do. So for instance, you may type in grants for educational media projects in Los Angeles, California. And then you see all the results that come back. Maybe the first 1 or 2 pages will be pretty specific to the project. Then they start widening out to be specific to Los Angeles, specific to California, specific to the Western region of the US. Then you start getting into national, all kinds of different things. So I say that to say, kind of pay attention to the first 1 or 2 pages for the specific options for you. Because all cities or states or regions have what's known as community foundations. These are foundations that operate a pot of money that a lot of corporations and other sources pay into to improve the community. And it's the job of the community foundation to solicit applications and proposals to disperse those funds. So community foundations are kind of a clearinghouse of grant opportunities in your particular, either if it's not your city, then maybe it's your region or state. So for example, in California, there's the California Community Foundation, the California Wellness Foundation, and maybe 4 or 5 others, California Endowment, that are specific to nonprofits in California. And that might be your first best bet because they're local. And then your grant online research, some of the results will state databases that you can either subscribe to for free or a fee that you can use just like any other database. It contains thousands and thousands of grant opportunities. And the biggest one is the Foundation Center. So you will probably see that on page 1. The Foundation Center is a clearinghouse database, thousands literally of grant opportunities in there. Now they are subscription based. If you're not ready to pay for it yet, and I don't suggest you pay for it until you actually get a little more farther along in the process. But a lot of libraries, public libraries, and community college libraries and university libraries have access to the Foundation Center through their computers. So you'd have to make a few trips down there to spend some time going through that database. Some of the databases that are going to come back on your search are do have free trials. So just click on a few of them and click around in there. Some of them have free trials, and if you're ready, sign up for the free trial just so you can get familiar with how to do the research. And I suggest that you read, because some of the funders say the biggest issues and problems that they have with a lot of the incoming applications, folks aren't reading every word. They're submitting projects that don't fit into that funder's parameters because they didn't review it. And I'll tell you, the grant applications are usually pretty detailed, and you can miss words and even sentences, speaking from experience, if you don't read it 2, 3, 4 times. So read it all the way through, read it again, take notes, and because you want to make sure that your project lines up with what they want to fund. All right, then making connections. So it's not only about doing research online. I know it's easy. You can sit in your home, office, library, and be relaxed and spend hours online searching. That's fine, but the best leads are going to come from people, humans that you talk to. So it's all about relationship building, just like the suggestions that people have for finding a new job. Who do you know? So I say that to say everybody that you know, you're in your network, your friends, family, people in your community, your church, clubs, whatever, everyone should know that you are looking for grant funding for a project, because people talk to each other. And if a friend of yours or a friend of a friend is out somewhere and they happen to hear, oh, or they happen to meet someone that says, I work for a funder and we fund this, mental note, oh yes, so my friend so-and-so needs money for that kind of project. May I put you two in contact? That's what you're aiming for. And so you know the saying about the degrees of separation. We're only 4, 5, 6 people away from knowing who we all need to know at any given time. So you got to open your mouth, talk, be friendly. Everywhere you go, that's appropriate. Talk to people about your project, because your mission is to meet a potential funder in person. That's the ideal. If not in person, at least through email or a phone call. So networking events that you go to, there's this time of year, there's lots of holiday parties, conferences, galas, whatever. Galas are really good because if you go to some that are in your same field, then you can see who's funding their particular organization. A program book is a wealth of information. It has even names, websites, some of them do. And so you might find out the foundation information or funder information for that gala just by going to it and opening up the program book, as well as talking to people. So what your pitch is going to be is hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? I want to talk to you real briefly about a project that my organization needs funding for. And I just want to confirm that this is something that your foundation will consider. Now, you will have done your research already to know that person's employer, what they do fund. Okay, so when you make your pitch, you're already going to know, but what that signals to that program officer or that funder representative is this person has done their homework and they're serious about trying to get funding. So hopefully, and all of them know, they know that people want to meet them and shake their hand and talk to them. But you just want to make it clear that I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I just want to confirm because I think that we can have a mutually beneficial relationship. Remember, these funders have to give away money, so don't be intimidated by them. Their job is to make stuff happen in the community, and your job is to give them the tools they need to make good decisions. So if you can get an in-person introduction, great. If not, maybe an email or a phone call will do just fine. But make sure that that person knows your name and what your project is, because often they may say, well, actually, this may not really fit, but I know it'll fit this particular funder, and hopefully you'll get an introduction. Okay, so wow story. And I'm going to excuse myself for just a second while I take a sip of water. Okay. The main portion of any grant application is, what are you going to do with the money? What is your project and why? So what you want to do is first, before you even get into, we want to get money so that we can do blah, 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 think about your goals and objectives. So break your project down into maybe 2 or 3 goals and their objectives. And I want to spend a couple minutes talking about goals and objectives, because this is where folks really get into trouble and their application gets weak. A strong application will print SMART goals. SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. You want to make sure that your goal, or really your objective, is that specific. So here's an example. Our project will help girls improve in math. It's a goal, but not an objective. But some people will put that as an objective, and the program officer or the person reading it will think, okay, that's good. We want girls to improve in math, but how are you going to get there? When is this going to take place? And again, it's not to make fun of that sentence. It's just that if you don't know, you don't know. So that's why we're getting this instruction. So that is actually a goal. A goal is the big, huge vision. We want to save all the animals. We want to house single mothers, whatever. And then the objective is, how are you going to do that? What's your strategy? So in this case, our objective is, we'll give 100 time measurable, 8th grade girls, specificity, confidence building exercises, attainable, during the fall semester, time bound, so their math scores will increase by at least 1 grade letter by the end of the school year. And obviously relevant, because we already put the problem statement out there that girls need help in math. Again, this is just an example. No one get offended. I'm not saying all girls, but in general, stats show girls in elementary, middle school are not quite as aggressive in their math skills as they should be. So that is, in general, something that the whole country needs to work on. So I thought I'd use that as an example. But anyway, so specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. That all needs to be wrapped up into your objective. Now, you can have a couple different objectives and several goals. But remember, the goal is the one big picture. We want girls to succeed in math. And the objective is the strategy to accomplish the goal. So here's another one. Goal 1, help girls succeed in math. 2 objectives. And I'm breaking down that previous objective about that whole paragraph. I'm breaking that down into 2 objectives. Objective 1, confidence building exercises will begin in the fall semester. Objective 2, practice tests once a week in the spring semester. So you see how specific it is. And that will help give the funder an idea or a really clear picture of what you want to do with their money. All right, so still continuing on the project narrative. So we went through that goals and objective exercise because got to start thinking in statements. Funder wants to know why this problem? Why are you tackling it now? Why you or your organization? Why is this something that you are qualified to do? And why should we fund it? So your project narrative has to answer all of that in a way that captures the attention of the person reading it. And the best way to do that, story, story, story. Everything is a story. We can break down everything that happens among humans in some sort of story. Now, when I say story, I'm not saying a elementary level once upon a time. The point is a story has a beginning, middle, and end. So what you want to do is think about your project in a way that if you were talking to a friend or a colleague on the phone and explaining it, you're not putting them to sleep with a bunch of numbers and statistics. Yes, you need to have research in your narrative, but it may go something like this. So making your organization or project the hero coming in to save the day and solve the problem. The example can be 8th grade girls in urban public schools are failing math at an alarming rate, putting them at risk of getting behind and unable to catch up. If something isn't done, hundreds of girls won't make it to high school with their peers. Our nonprofit seeks to change that with this new program. So you see how I put it out there, the problem statement, in a way that makes people go, oh, right, yes, of course we have to do something about that. Now that's an easy one to kind of, assume that you need a solution to, but anything that you think of, you have to kind of frame it in a way that it's a story that puts out there why this is needed right now. It's okay to be dramatic as long as what you're saying is true and you can back it up by facts. Now, I didn't put the stats and research in that opening sentence. I want to get attention right off the bat. So as the narrative moves down to get into the challenge that has the why and the how, then we'll intermingle some statistics. But I just want you to get you thinking right now about how you can make what you do come alive and pop on that page so that the reader will immediately be drawn into your world and exit the narrative by thinking, that's a really good story. That's a really good idea. And I had no idea that this problem existed to this extent. All right. And so the narrative, it consists of several different components, and I'm going to go over a few right now. In addition to the actual story, in addition to the goals and objectives, your narrative should explain how are you going to know when you reach your destination. Remember the beginning, middle, end to the story? How are you going to know at the end if something was accomplished? Now, that may seem obvious to you, but you need to communicate that to the funder in a way that they need to hear. Statistics and percentages. They want to know, did you meet the goals that you set out in your goals and objectives statement? If you did not meet them, why? How do you know you did or didn't? Because sometimes these can be kind of elusive and we look back on it and go, oh yes, we took that decision and put that over here and we made it work. So they usually require at least one of two different styles of evaluation. And right here, as you can see, you will either do a formative evaluation, which is a midpoint, a progress report, and a chance to make any adjustments if something isn't going right. And some of the tactics can be sign-in sheets, milestones, etc. Or some funders don't require you to do a midpoint, but a summary. All of them want a summary report. That's your final report, your final project, your final grade. You're going to measure your goals and, sorry about that typo, I'll fix that. Measure your goals and get your tactics to support whether or not you met your goals. Pre-post surveys, worksheets, polls, etc. There's various ways of measuring. It depends on the project, really. So for our 8th grade girls example, we obviously want to see their grades. Did their grades improve between fall semester and spring semester? And obviously the worksheets and the test scores will tell that story. Did they show up to the confidence building exercises? The sign-in sheets and the activities that were done will tell that story. And so you need to take detailed notes and information on everything that happens during the grant funding period so that you have a story to tell about how it worked or adjustments that needed to be made, or, and this is very important, the part two. The part two will continue getting you money. All right, let's talk about the part two. Sustainability. So for example, if your project worked and you think there's still room to continue it for another year or so, and the statistics bear out that, yes, this is making an impact on our community, and it would really be a shame if we stopped, then you can make the case for renewal of your grant, or sometimes you even have to fill out a whole new application. But the good news is you're already a known entity to that particular funder, and the chances are good that they will fund you again. No guarantees, but again, the chances do increase. So what you want to make sure that you convey is how this project is going to last beyond the funding. Are you going to leverage the grant to, again, maybe increase the size of your volunteers, hire a person, do more outreach, something has to come out of the fact that you did this project and it worked. And what's the part two? How can we continue the work? And tell the funder how would additional monies help to extend the project or grow it. And then also the funder wants to know about your organization as well as your project. They don't want to fund projects that look shaky, that look to be implemented by an organization with shaky finances, because they're thinking, well, it's a waste of our money. Yes, they may complete a project, but if the doors close, what's the point? Yes, we helped 100 people, but we want to help 1,000. So you want to make sure that you have a solid financial plan in addition to the grant, because the grant may take time to come in and you need money to keep the lights on. And yes, a nonprofit can make money. They do have operation expenses. Yes, you can turn a profit, because nonprofit is really just a tax status. It doesn't mean no profit, because you have to eat. People that you employ, they have to eat. You have to pay rent. You got to buy supplies. So the point is, have a financial revenue stream, or start one that can help you have revenue coming in between grant cycles. It may be something obvious. So let me give you an example. The video production company, nonprofit video production company that we operated, we had, in between the grant projects, the long medical programs, we solicited work from small businesses in the community who needed commercials. And so we shot commercials, produced commercials, marketing videos, web videos, etc., all kinds of different video projects that a business would need to help fund the educational programs that we existed to produce. And so that is allowed. And the only difference is you can't show on your balance sheet stockpiling of revenue and at the end disperse it to shareholders. That is a for-profit business. However, a nonprofit, if you do have money at the end of your fiscal year, it needs to be invested back into the organization. However, whatever the organization needs to keep going, whatever monies you make needs to continually be invested into the organization. And sometimes nonprofits give bonuses. Yes, that is allowed too. I work for a nonprofit now that gives bonuses once a year, depending on different factors. So yes, nonprofit is a business, and yes, you can and should make money. All right, say it loud. That means your public relations plan. Funders want to be and should be recognized for all that they do. So often a funder will explain when they award you the check and a contract how they want to be recognized. Perhaps a logo on all your materials, or a printed statement about the organization, something. If they don't explain to you, if they don't have any preference, take it upon yourself to ask, how would you like to be recognized? And they'll be delighted to send you their logo and anything else, and invite some of the program officers to an event or whatever your project is. Maybe you have a public aspect of it, or they can just come in and observe. But they should be involved in the PR process, because their money's made it happen. Now, the promotion ideas, in the old days, meaning pre-internet, It usually consisted of a news release that we send out and hope that it gets covered, maybe some flyers and word of mouth, some radio. But now with social media, there's a whole new world that's opened up that we can all be our own loud PR firm. We can all be our own news firm. So social media, you can do all kinds of things, as you know, besides regular posting, Twitter chats, watch parties, live videos, live interviews, online polls, conversation starters, all kinds of different things. And of course, you need to take lots and lots of photos and post them anywhere and everywhere. And other ideas are conduct interviews with the people that you're serving. Why are you excited to come to our program? How does this help your life? And that will really raise the profile of your organization. And your point in the PR is not only to please the funder, not only to recognize the funder, but to make a name for your organization, because other funders in the community and even outside the community may hear of your work and put you on their radar so that they can contact you about, hey, we've got some funds. Would you like to apply for this pot of money? And that's really the best place you can be in when they're knocking on your door and say, we've got money for you, please apply. Okay, so it all starts in the way you get the word out. Don't keep anything a secret in terms of your projects, your money, your grant monies, and what you do for the community. It's super important to brag about yourself or your organization. And sometimes people get intimidated by social media because there's so much to it, and you can look at it and go, oh, I can't figure this out. Take it step by step. I would suggest YouTube videos. College students, high school students, soak it up. Don't just say, here, do this. Learn something. You may not be a quote expert, but you should be enough to get it going and to manage things without your social media person. Now, if you have a big campaign going on, yes, hire somebody or pay them a stipend. But on a daily basis, on a regular basis, you should be proficient enough to do regular posting and get people interested in what you have to offer. You are able to hire someone to do your PR and or social media if your funder, if the application allows for it. And that will be in your budget determination. But marketing and PR is generally a line item that they do allow because they understand you need money to promote. Okay, and then finally, the treasure chest, that's your budget. When we talk about the budget, this is why you really need to review what the funder's parameters are, because often they have a range of monies that they grant. They may say, we give anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. So you don't want to go in there and ask for $80,000, knowing that their ceiling is $50,000. You want to be familiar. Now, if it doesn't state it right on the application, ask. And that gives you a really good reason to contact somebody in the foundation, or either by email or phone. Just, hey, I wanted to know what your range is, because we want to make sure that our funding request is right, aligned with what you're able to do. And so the person that gives you that information, again, they will remember you, and that's a good thing. But usually the grant will fund typically the full salary for the staff or staff person or people that have to run the grant funded program. And a contingency percentage is usually set aside to help supplement the executive director's salary. The grant will typically fund the full cost of any program supplies, equipment, travel, marketing, space rental, food, etc. Anything that is directly applicable to the project that you're asking to get funded. And the partial cost of regular overhead. Now, there are a few grants that do seed money or general operating expenses, but I have to tell you, it's probably 70% of grants fund projects, maybe 30 will fund just general operating expenses. So be mindful of that. You might have to apply for 4 different program program grants to help sustain your project and your organization. Some of them don't want to be the only one. They'll say something like, who else have you or are you asking for grant monies? And if there's no one else, state that, but you want to try very hard to at least list one other person or one other funding possibility, even if it's some investment from family and friends. even if it's in kind. You want to say something so they're not feeling like they're the only one. And you want to be precise and adhere to market value as much as possible. So if you pay, salary, and the program officers will know whether or not your salary is in line with what you are asking for. So you want to make sure it's market value. And then you need to develop a budget justification, which is a narrative to explain all the calculations. So for example, 100 folders at $1 each, that's easy. Or salary, project manager, $20 an hour times 40 hours a week for 12 weeks, 15, 20 weeks, 1 year, whatever it is. So be prepared to justify your numbers. That's usually always required. All right, so those were the 6 modules, or some of the 6 modules that create your proposal: the networking, the research, the project story, narrative, description, sustainability, budget, and promotion. There are a few more aspects or subcategories under each of these, but those were the big chunks, the big gold nuggets, as I like to call them. And the good news is I am ready to open an online grant writing academy. I have some modules all ready to go so that you can really take a deep dive into these gold nuggets and understand how to put an entire proposal together. So the Online Grant Writing Academy you will learn to develop all of these bullet points, and all of these are the typical elements of a grant application. The reason why there are more than 6 bullet points is because some of these points fall into the same category. So for example, your project proposal is the who, what, when, where, et cetera, et cetera. Goals and objectives, timeline, logic model, budgets, all that is under project proposal. So, the elements include all of these bullet points, but you're going to learn how to develop all this through those modules that we just talked about. And remember a few slides back, I said that I developed an ebook. This would be your textbook for the Online Grant Writing Academy. So it lists all of the information in this particular slide in a orderly fashion and gives you instruction on the why and how to put all this together. The Online Grant Writing Academy consists of, again, the ebook, step-by-step lessons via video, just like this, worksheets and guides and templates. And of course, you're going to have access to a couple of the grants that I've written and received in the past, so you can get an idea of what a winning grant proposal looks like. And then regular live group coaching and Q&A. Also a private Facebook group to share resources, meet each other, help each other, support each other. And then I'll jump in there on a regular basis for feedback on worksheets and your eventual completed grant proposal. Now, I want to tell you though that the Online Grant Writing Academy opens in February. So we still do have a few weeks to go. But in the meantime, what I've put together, what I'm very excited about to announce right now, is that a special 2020 challenge. 2020 is the year coming up in just a matter of days. It's a brand new year and a brand new decade, and we're going to start it with a challenge. Here's how it goes in honor of 2020. 20 days, 2 grant possibilities, and 20 minutes with me for private one-on-one consulting. All right, let me explain. So the 20 days are business days, okay? So excluding Saturdays and Sundays, and excluding MLK Day, the 20 days of the challenge are January 2nd through January 30th. And you're going to have to research 2 potential grant opportunities. You're going to research these funders and fill out the worksheets based on the information in the ebook, okay? So the information I just gave you about how to research, all that's going to be written down for you. And I want you to find 2 potential opportunities that fit your nonprofit, fit the project that you're trying to get funding for, or general operating expenses for your organization. And then you're going to fill out all the worksheets and get 20 minutes with me after you fill out the worksheets for a private consultation. I will give you my feedback and help you develop your worksheets even further. And the consult will be via video or phone. Now, more details. This challenge will consist of you getting the ebook, step-by-step instructions to help you complete the worksheets. The worksheets will eventually be part of your portfolio that you will use to build a personal grant template for your organization, okay? So the challenge is only the worksheets, meaning you don't have to write reams and reams of paragraphs, maybe 2 or 3 statements per bullet point to get you thinking about how to order all of this. Is a lot of information, how to make some sense out of it and get a system going so that when and if you decide to sign up for the Grantwriting Academy in February, you will have a head start, you will understand everything a little bit more, and you will be able to, quote, graduate sooner, all right? So, actually, let's, there is some other information that I wanted to share with you regarding the challenge. Okay, so I don't see that slide. That's okay. So here's how it goes. You sign up for the challenge, all right? I immediately send you the Golden Road to Grants ebook. Actually, I'll send it starting January 2nd. Each category in the ebook will be highlighted with corresponding worksheets that you are going to fill out so that when the challenge is over, or as soon as you can, you will submit to me all of the worksheets that correspond to all of these bullet points and elements of the grant writing, all right? So the worksheet, now not all of these bullet points will have worksheets for the challenge. The main ones, the proposal, the timeline, the budget, that kind of thing. Because I want you to start understanding how to develop it and put it together. My goal is to have folks start writing grants as soon as possible in 2020. So if you get on this challenge, it's over with on January 30th. You consult with me up until February 9th. The online Grant Writing Academy opens mid to late February. And if you complete the challenge, you will be able to start writing a grant in as soon as 8 weeks. So that means mid-February to mid-March to maybe sometime in April. You will graduate from the Academy with a full portfolio of all of the information that relates to these bullet points as it pertains to your organization and the project that you're trying to get funded. All right, so for the balance of 2020, you will have a grant proposal template that you can just tweak and revise per funder to make the process a lot easier and to up your chances of getting money. I don't want you to have to spend a whole year or 10 years, kind of like I did, figuring out how to write grants. I want to accelerate this for you so you can do what you need to do to help our communities. It's that important to me. All right, what's important to you is important to me, trying to help our communities. So again, 20 business days starting January 2nd to January 30th. 2 potential grant opportunities. You're going to research, fill out the worksheets, and by January 30th, you should have completed them. I will review them with you. We do through a private consultation, and you're off and you're running, okay? $20 for the ebook and the worksheets, $39, this is a bargain basement prices, because I really, really want you to take advantage of this. $39 for a 20-minute consultation equals $59. That is the cost of the challenge. $59 to start you on the golden road to grants. And that's really a bargain if you've done any grant research at all about workshops. If some of them are free on YouTube, but you're really not getting detailed information and no one's giving you feedback. Some of the ones that do cost money, $500, $600, $700, $800. So consider this a bargain. Now, you're not going to end the challenge with an actual proposal, but you're going to have the foundation. You're going to have the building blocks you need to start the academy, if you choose, and sail through. All right? So the payment procedure, paypal.me/championgrants. Just type that right in your browser, take you to PayPal. You don't personally have to have a PayPal account, but when you type Champion Grants, it'll come to me for your payment for the challenge. And then I'll start getting it together and sending you the materials and the information that you need. So again, it's $59, but if you pay by December 11th, it's $49, all right? If you can't do that, you can make a payment of $25 deposit also by December 11th, and then pay the in full amount no later than December 30th. I need to have all challenge students signed up by December 30th so I can prepare for you so we can get started as a group on January 2nd. How does that sound? I hope that sounds great to you, because it sounds good to me. It took me about 10, 15 years to even understand all of this. And I'm giving you information so you can understand it in just a matter of days instead of years like I did. Now, I'm not going to lie and say you're going to be a super grant writing expert, but you will know enough to write grants for your own project and your own nonprofit, okay? You will actually know enough to help your staff too, or partner, whoever is also involved with you. So yes, you're definitely going to get something out of it. And I think this is a great way to start taking baby steps so that 2020 is your year to finally implement your nonprofit project. All right, so if you've got any questions, any concerns, any comments at all, Cynthia@urbanwellnessnow.com. And again, the deadline to join is December 30th. The challenge starts January 2nd. Let me repeat that, paypal.me/championgrants. You can pay in full and get $10 off if you pay in full by December 11th. If you need to make a deposit, $25, great. And if you can pay the remainder by December 11th, you still get the $10 off. If you can't, then you have until December 30th to make your payment, either a deposit or full. But again, only 25 spots available. And I know these are going to go fast, because who doesn't want a private consultation with an expert to review their potential grant application? So what I want you to do now, think about this and then immediately jump on it, because again, seats are limited. But I also want you to take some time to breathe, enjoy the holidays, and then prepare to launch your grant writing journey as soon as this new year and new decade begins. So 2020 can be the year of your nonprofit. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I should hope to see you online.